One United Church Christ and Good Shepherd, Pastor Matt and Pastor Becky here with another exciting episode of Dear Revs. And this afternoon's episode is around the question of the words we use in the Lord's Prayer. Why do some people say the word debts, some people use the word sins, and still others use the word trespasses? And sometimes those different words can lead to a lot of confusion, especially if you have a group of a bunch of different denominations of Christians praying together. And I understand some of that tripping up of language and confusion, as I spent the first 40-some years of my life almost exclusively using the word debts as part of the Lord's Prayer. And then I came to Good Shepherd, and you all used the word sins, and I spent the first couple months tripping over myself leading the pastoral prayers as I had to switch the internal language in my head. It turns out that some of the confusion comes from the two different biblical versions of the Lord's Prayer, one found in the Gospel of Matthew and the other found in the Gospel of Luke. And those two different versions use two different Greek words. And Becky is going to talk to us about those Greek words. She is such a language geek. She is looking forward to this.
Oh, I am. So the Bible was written in Koine Greek, and I was joking with Matt I should be wearing a toga or something. So if you got some baklava at home, now's the time to get it out. Woefully we are lacking. We just have a giant stack of Greek reference material.
That isn't even all of them that she has.
No, it really isn't. So the word that Matthew uses that we render as trespasses, sins, or debts is a word called ophelemata. And that word means a debt, a due, a delinquency, an offense, a fault, or a sin. That word, interestingly, is only used twice in the New Testament, here in Matthew 6:12 and again in Romans 4:4. The word that Luke uses that we render as sins, debts, trespasses is called hamartias, and that means an error, an offense, sin, proneness to sin, or sinful propensity. That word is kind of the gold standard Koine Greek word that means sins. It's used 173 times in the New Testament, all the way through from Matthew to Revelation. Now, why on earth these two words matter, we'll talk about in a moment.
First, part of the reason they matter is that when these Greek words were translated into English, different translations were made. It turns out most Christians like Matthew's version over Luke's. And way back when Henry VIII broke off from the Catholic Church and started the Anglican Church, he looked at Matthew's version of the Lord's Prayer and wanted to render it in English versus Latin from the Catholic Church. So he went to William Tyndale's translation of Matthew and chose the word trespasses, and he put that English word in the first Book of Common Prayer. A little later on, in 1611, when King James authorized a translation of the Bible, those English translators chose the word debts. So if you look at the King James version of the Bible and Matthew's version of the Lord's Prayer, you will see the word debts translated into English. And language matters, and the words we use matter, and Becky's going to talk a little more about that as well.
So ophelemata and hamartias are synonyms, and the difference between them is really nuanced. So in some sense, ophelemata has more of a nuance of the effect that sin causes to others, to God, to the community, as debts has more of a sense of the harm sin causes that we need to have made right. Hamartias has more of a sense of the wrong action itself, the thing that we do that is offensive, that breaks relationship. So for example, if I were to kill Matt, that would be a hamartia. That would definitely be a sin. That would be the action itself. Now, however, the debt that creates, that action of killing my husband, who I dearly love, would have on my in-laws, his parents, who I also dearly love, the effect that would have on you folks at Good Shepherd, that would be the ophelemata. That would be the effect. So you have the talk between the debt that sin causes or the action of sin itself. Now, which version of the Lord's Prayer is correct?
We can debate that more tonight at 7 on Zoom. We encourage everyone to join us. Bring your opinions, bring your strong feelings, and we'll discuss more about language and about versions of the Lord's Prayer. Until then, God bless and take care, everyone.
Be well, friends. Bye.
Bye.